There's not $1 million Shopify builds out there. Good data is the most important thing to make sure that your products surface well. Focus on actually bringing the fun back to marketing and sales. That's what I think is the most exciting thing. I'm Martin Cox from Native App Co. And in this episode of Add to Cart, I talk about Shopify apps, whether the App Store is dead or whether you should just vibe code everything.
If you've spent any time in the Australian Shopify scene, you know the type of person that we've got on the show today. They are the person in any meeting where something technical comes up and someone says, we should just ask Martin. That's been today's guest, Martin Cox, for the best part of a decade. At the end of last year, he quit agency life. He walked away, went out on his own and started building Shopify apps. He's 2 months in now. He's already got 4 apps in the App Store, all with animal mascots, and he's got no business plan. He's really good technically though, trust me. He'll be a good guest. But he told me all of this really proudly. And I wanted Martin on the show because the world of Shopify and Shopify apps is shifting in ways that most of us haven't really caught up with. What does an app even do in a world where AI can connect directly into your store? What is the value of an app developer when you can build pretty much anything you want with AI? What does product discovery look like when someone might be buying through a chatbot or a checkout that doesn't even live on your website where your apps are? Martin is building right in the middle of all of this, 2 months in, 10 tabs open at once, and I wanted to get his take on where all of this is heading. Now, just quickly, before we get into today's episode, a big thank you to our partners at Shopify and Klaviyo for making Add to Cart possible. We always appreciate their support. And if you want the cheat sheet from this episode or any episode that we do, head on over to addtocart.com.au and sign up for the newsletter. We send the cheat sheet, all the stuff, all the links, everything that you need to know about the episode. Even if you don't get to listen to it, we send it out on the day every episode is released. All right, here is co-founder Martin Cox from Native App Co. Martin, welcome to Add to Cart.
Thanks for having me, Bushy. It's fun to be on the other side of the microphone. And yeah,
Look, we've traded a few little secrets around podcasting, but we're going to get to your podcast because I think it's a fascinating area. And we're going to talk a lot about Shopify apps today. But your history, knowing each other goes well beyond podcasting. You've been in the agency side for a hell of a long time. Not to make you sound old, but...
Yeah, well, it is a while actually, yeah. Or it was, I'm not there anymore, but yeah, so yeah, it was about 13 or 14 years ago, something like that. So yeah, Laura Jackson, who I was sort of out doing my own thing, a little bit like what I'm doing now. And yeah, was just trying to get a bit of money coming in on the side. And yeah, Laura, who'd been agency side herself, and I was a client back in the day. And I heard that she'd quit her job when she'd had her first baby. And so I caught up with her and said, look, why don't we just try and get a bit of work together, thinking it was going to maybe be a bit of freelance work and hopefully just get a bit of money in so I could chase my passion projects. But yeah, she was very good at sales and had lots of great relationships and network. And so she just kept on winning and winning work. And
you were obviously very good at development.
No, actually, I'm not a very good developer, funnily enough.
All our conversations have been very techie, so I just assumed you're a developer.
Yeah, so we got to the point. So we sort of were doing all kinds of work early days. And then one of my first clients I signed was just a guy selling baby gear and he was a wholesale business and wanted to start a B2C store. And so I sort of stumbled across Shopify and just built him a website on there. So I'm not too bad at HTML, CSS, that type of stuff. But yeah, I just sort of fumbled my way through that. And then, yeah, as Laura and I sort of started taking all kinds of work, but then it was just sort of a recurring theme. We just kept on winning a bit more e-commerce work along the way. And so just kept on, doing more and more. And then we sort of had a moment sort of a couple of years in where our biggest client was actually like a publishing contract doing magazines. And my brother was our designer at the time and he was almost working full time on doing these physiotherapy magazines. And then we lost that contract, and it was actually the best thing that ever happened to us because that day just decided, all right, well, let's rename our business. We would do consulting. We changed it to do commerce that day and just became 100% all in on e-commerce and building on Shopify. And yeah, here I am now, like, yeah, sort of nearly 10 or 15 years later, whatever it is after that. And
I think that's fascinating because we're going to talk about the new world of Shopify and what we're moving into. But back then, even that would have been a crazy decision to specialize an agency in Shopify because there were so many guardrails on it. You actually couldn't touch much back then.
yeah, it's interesting. Like, there's people that have been doing it for as long as me who have been doing stuff a lot more technical than me. Like, I just had Gavin Ballard on my podcast the other day from Disco Labs and Submarine, who's one of the OGs in the space. And like, he's building funky back end stuff back when there was barely an API to work with. And he's grown with the platform and so well respected in what he does. And so there's been a few people that are around. But like back in the day when I first joined the Shopify partner program, the onboarding emails actually came from Harley at Shopify. And I wish I'd built that relationship and nurtured it there. I don't think he'd remember sending me those emails, and I don't have that email address anymore. But like that's how small it legitimately was back then. It was really emerging. And yeah, I guess it's helped me too as someone who wasn't really much of a developer. There wasn't much you could do in the early days.
Yeah.
And so I've sort of upskilled, I guess, with the platform a little bit and got ridden on that wave and then sort of had to start hiring real developers when got real complex work. So I'm sort of more of a solutions guy, I guess, than a developer as such.
Yeah. And I've had the pleasure of working with you on a couple of clients, and you are always the go-to. I can say hand on heart that the amount of times that we should just ask Martin this, like that comes up in conversation, like you are the go-to guy whenever something technical or solution-wise comes up for the platform. Everyone's like, Martin will know this. So I think you've got a great legacy there. But we're here to talk about your escape from agency. Even though you said you're not a developer, you've now taken a career path in developing apps. What was that about? Are you just sick of paying money to other app developers and took a stand?
Yeah, no, not really. It was sort of something just, I guess I always had that little burning inside me wanting to do my own thing. And like, I was very lucky to go on a journey, growing a team and working in a big agency and like learned so much and worked with so many great people there. But yeah, when I threw the towel in at the end of last year, just not even necessarily knowing what I was going to do, but just thought, you know what, I've got the desire to go back to just doing my own thing, have a fresh start. And yeah, I've got a mate who's over in Poland who sort of has been building apps for a little while. So he's the real developer behind it all. Yeah, he sort of rode the wave of being able to build a few apps a few years ago when you probably didn't need to actually get out there and market as much. It wasn't anywhere near as competitive as it is now. And I'm probably underselling him a little bit because he has built up a great business by building relationships and doing all those things, but it was a bit different back then. Whereas now we're in a state where, yeah, you've really, and I think you used the term the other week of SaaS. Instead of being software as a service, it's almost service as a software now. Yeah. And so he's built some really great apps and we've sort of bundled it all up now under the Native App Co umbrella. Yeah, with the view that he sort of goes and builds amazing stuff. And then I go out there and, yeah, help to connect it to merchants and just seeing where the opportunities are and filling them. And so just having a massive amount of fun with it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I've been at it for sort of 2 months full time now and just every day, yeah, it's a new bunch of surprises and meeting new people and finding interesting problems to solve.
I could imagine. And then knowing how your mind works, I can imagine you've got a list of apps that you want to build and your developer must be saying, Martin, just settle down. Leave me alone for a bit.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's interesting. Like I did think, like I thought when I finished up agency side, like I thought it's a good chance to reset my brain a little bit and like focus on a couple of things. But I think having that background, I actually have just realized I've got to embrace the fact I'm a 10 tabs open at once kind of guy and roll with that. And so we've got 4 apps in the App Store and I met with another guy yesterday about building something new and I didn't say no to it. And so, yeah, it's also like, I think whenever anyone starts their own business, like I look back to when I did it last time and everyone else that does it, the first 6 months, you never know exactly where it's going to land and what you're going to end up doing and where the money's going to be. So yeah, I've sort of just taken the approach that I just get out there and see what works and what doesn't. And then, yeah, like I haven't written a business plan and I'm doing that kind of unashamedly because I've written business plans when I've started businesses in the past and yeah, they didn't really achieve much.
You're a real 2026 entrepreneur, aren't you? You're like, I won't write a business plan, but I'll start a podcast.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, well, look, it's a bit cliche, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, look, 2 middle-aged men talking about e-commerce.
That's it. I did call it my midlife crisis podcast. But yeah, it's actually just been like the podcast was a bit of fun. Like it was something I'd sort of probably wanted to do for a while. I'm actually The only formal qualification I've got in this world, funnily enough, is a journalism degree, which I did 20 years ago and then never used. So,
You're 100% more qualified than me, put it that way.
but I certainly don't feel like I've brought much from that education into what I'm doing. But the thing I wanted to do with it too was like, I think, and the message I have about the Shopify ecosystem is like, I think there's just so many great independent people out there that do amazing things. It's always been a community driven platform. And particularly probably working big agency, you end up having partnerships with like a group of this is not to discredit any of these businesses too, but the enterprise level platforms and stuff where it sort of ends up being the same people over and over again in the community. And yeah, and also I think sometimes there's actually really great, interesting products and great stories to be told that don't rise to the top because yeah, there is a lot of really good big businesses that kind of steal the space. So I decided to do something that sort of shines the light on, yeah, some of those more independent people around the world. And like, it's just been a great learning curve for me more than anything. Like I've learnt so much out of it and hopefully have shared a few good stories in a bit of a different way.
I think it's a great thing because it's a good chance to just to get nerdy and to get technical around the problems that you're solving that a lot of people wouldn't see when you open up the Shopify app store and you see the headlines or the bullet points of what an app's doing, but just going into the thought process and the problems that you came up with in how we're solving this in different ways, because you can easily open the app store and go, God, there's 50 wishlist apps, but there's all nuances in there that you really need to understand between the difference. Now, I want to go into the native app co, and we're going to unpack some of your apps and some of your ideas, which are fascinating. But first, before we do, I need to ask the obvious question. It seems to me a silly time to start an app business because with the advent of AI, and I was literally speaking to someone from Shopify, and they might not like me saying this, but last week, and they were saying the queues for Shopify app approval at the moment is all-time high. Like, it's crazy trying to get through that list because everyone can create an app in inverted commas, but there is so much competition. You alluded to it before. Why go into Shopify apps now?
Yeah. Oh, look, very good question. And I'll know in about 6 months' time, I reckon. Either I'll be in the Centrelink queue or or it'll be starting to go well. But yeah, it's an interesting one. And it's what I think about at 3 o'clock in the morning if I wake up. But no, look, I don't know. I'm an optimist about this type of stuff. And I think actually I see more of the excitement about what's possible now. Like we've just built the app that we most recently launched, product Pelican, which is essentially like it's almost like I'm calling it my accidental PIM, which I started sort of just building a couple of audits for looking at product data on a Shopify store. And then as someone who's not a developer, I was able to vibe code it and get a really good prototype of it. And then got it to a point where I spoke to Matt over in Poland, my mate who I work with. He's said, yeah, look, we can turn this into an app. We did it. We actually, because we've already got the built for Shopify status on one of our other apps, you actually get to jump the queue. So
Gotcha.
I submitted it to the App Store at 11 o'clock one night. And then about 3 a.m. we got it approved. So we're very lucky that we sort of already got a bit of a head start there. But yeah, like you see the 700 apps getting approved every week or whatever it is, and it sounds pretty scary. But yeah, I think like the ability to innovate with where we're at the moment, and like as someone who I guess has got the consultancy background as well, like as a single person, you can go out and like create so much content and solve problems so quickly with a lot of the tools that are available. And I think there's just so much opportunity as well with AI, and everyone's trying to grapple with it, and it's just changing so fast. And as much as you can now connect Claude code to your Shopify instance and tell it to update all of your product descriptions, that's not a very safe thing to do. You're not giving a mid-level e-commerce coordinator a job to go in and use Connect Claude and go and update all your products. So I think the way I see the app ecosystem changing is that apps are really about creating the guardrails for people to do what's possible with APIs and AI and that sort of stuff, and create good interfaces for it. And so, yeah, that's sort of the vision I've always had, is just to try and help people to leverage the platform better. And that was always the way that I felt about it in my agency days when I first joined Overdose. We sort of got sucked into the path of like trying to build enterprise stuff on Shopify because the agency already built a lot of Magento sites, and that was sort of the way of working. And yeah, we realized about 6 months in, we were like, geez, we're not making any money. We're behind timeline on everything. We've designed beautiful stuff that, costs a fortune to build. And so, we had to flip it all on its head and go back to essentially looking, all right, well, what's the best thing about SaaS? And the best thing about SaaS is that you've got so much stuff out of the box. And so everything that we do became about, let's leverage what's out of the box and then, build custom stuff as we need to. And so, I'm really strong on that philosophy. And I think the ecosystem's changed towards that philosophy as well now. Like, I don't think you can, there's not $1 million Shopify builds out there like there used to be with some of the big enterprise platforms back in the day. And I think that's a good thing. I think it means people get to market quicker, can go and do stuff. Like the projects we've worked on together have been like that, where like you've come in and done your bit, I've come in and done my bit, and our team's just solving problems that actually need solving. And there always are enough problems that need solving. You don't want to be having to solve stuff that doesn't need to be solved.
I want to unpack the philosophy around Shopify apps and when to use them, when not to use them for our audience. But I think it's probably important to give a bit of context around your animal farm here at Nature App Co. You mentioned product Pelican, but there's also Stork Credit, Fish Wishlist, and Omnibus Owl. Probably the best titles for apps going around.
How good's Omnibus Owl? That's fantastic.
What is going on? Why are we all animals?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm actually a Dr. Seuss fan. I love Dr. Seuss. It's probably my biggest inspiration. And so Fish Wishlist was, that was thrown around. I just didn't want to have another, there's a lot of wishlist apps on the store, a lot of good ones too, but they almost, when I was looking into it, they all kind of had like a different pastel shaped heart as their logo. And I thought, let's just try and have something that looks a little bit different. And I was reading One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and that just happened. So I guess like you're trying to build a bit of a brand and I like to have a bit of fun. I don't take myself too seriously, and so we just picked a different animal for each one. Like Stork Credit was a lot of fun. I thought that was a good play on words. It's maybe not great for SEO, and I did a podcast on that app the other day, and like going through and fixing up the subtitles on it because the auto subtitles really struggled differentiating Store Credit and Stork Credit, so we just had a bit of fun with it, and I had some feedback on product Pelican the other day that, it's a terrible name, but a great app. So that's the best thing that I take that as a massive compliment. And I guess it means those people remember what it's called. So
here's a tricky one for you. How do you maintain 6 different drinks brands, each with its own personality, heritage, and audience, without blurring them into one big beige mega brand? Kind of sounds like a Bush family reunion. That was the puzzle for Casella Family Brands, the family behind Yellowtail and Australia's biggest family-owned drinks company. Wine, beer, spirits, ready to drink, they all needed to feel distinct. Their answer was Klaviyo. Instead of just email, they built what the team calls a customer relationship engine. 60 lifecycle flows across 6 brands that respond to what each customer is actually doing. Browsing sparkling, different experience to someone deep in the Shiraz. First timer, different again. And it works, with automated flows now driving 43% of Yellowtail's Klaviyo revenue and a 35 times ROI across the portfolio. 6 brands, 1 engine, 0 fights. Head to klaviyo.com/au and see how brands like Casella are doing it right. You know what it made me realize, even as I was doing a bit of research and emailing with you? I can't even spell Stork. I spelled it STALK, and that wasn't even autocorrect. That was just me being like a weirdo, but it's STORK if you're searching for it in the App Store. Just briefly, can you give us a little bit of an overview, a brief elevator pitch on the problem that you're solving with each of these? Because they're all very different.
Yeah. No, that's it. And like, I'll start on Stork Credit, I guess. Like, that was just an example of something where, like, I see that as being, it's actually a relatively new and untapped Shopify feature. So, like, I've seen so many people have to wrangle with using discount codes and gift cards and stuff for things where actually the best thing you could do is just have a customer be able to log into the site, have the credit already on their account, and go through and complete their order with that credit. So, it's actually a pretty simple mechanism. What we've done, we've basically just replicated the functionality that you use for creating a discount in Shopify, but made it that instead of getting a discount at the end, you get issued with store credit. And so people can run like say you've got a spend and save type promo. We had one retailer the other weekend do spend $100, get $10 store credit. Spend $200, get $25 store credit and so on. And so it just creates some new promotional opportunities for people. And I think it's really hard to find new, different ways to create those opportunities these days. And yeah,
Obviously, the benefit there is that you get the second sale or the follow-up sale, and then can you put an expiry on those credits as well?
yeah, that's it. To get techie, it's actually a really great feature of Shopify, the store credit, because it's tied in with everything like Shopify Market. So you can do it in multi-currency and you can put expiry dates on it. It just lives in the customer account. So the actual functionality of store credit, we haven't done anything to change the way it works. We've just built a really good interface for creating things that reward customers with store credit. So yeah, we've got like it can be everything from your welcome 10 sign up. So you just, instead of giving people a $10 discount code or $10 off their first order, you give them store credit when they sign up for an account and they can use it whenever they want.
So, dumb question. If it's a Shopify feature, what is the app adding on that or enabling on top of that?
Yeah, no. Oh, thanks for asking, because I didn't sell it very well, did I? So essentially, we provide the automation for it. So I can log into I can go into the back end of Shopify and give $10 store credit to you, no problem. But to build a system to then give $10 store credit to every person that signs up automatically, or the actual awarding of the store credits the bit we handle, and then the redemption part is just all native Shopify functionality.
So you're the marketing and the promotion side of it.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, it just gives people a heap of opportunities, and you can use Shopify Flow for building out more advanced stuff as well. Like I've got a demo I did of like actually building out like a gold, silver, bronze type loyalty program using store credit, which I don't necessarily believe in as a good idea, but just to show that it is possible to do that. And so, yeah, it's got a lot of interesting opportunities. And yeah, we're seeing like a lot of people are just using it to bulk import store credit to their stores. And yeah, we're seeing quite a few sort of B2B businesses start to use it for rewarding B2B customers and different segments and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's really fun to watch, because it is not just selling an app, it's also selling the Shopify feature as well, because not many people are really using that feature yet.
I love your point around loyalty, because when we had Ed Hallen on, the co-founder of Klaviyo, a few weeks ago, I was like, are you building a loyalty app? Because someone needs to come in and disrupt this tier model of loyalty. And even if you don't call it a loyalty program, having these loyalty nudges or these rewards for customers to keep coming back, that's beyond just a points collection, I think is a really smart move for retailers. So I love that angle.
Yeah, I think too, like it's just a like, I don't know, I think you talk strategy and tactics, and I'm probably more of a tactical guy than a strategic guy, as you might have figured out. But to me, it's the type of thing where you can have a program where people get points every purchase they make, and they can redeem the points and do all that with it. And like, it's obviously worked for some businesses really well across the journey. But to me, I think retailers are looking for, it's Wednesday and sales are down, and you need to find a way to get some more money through that weekend, and you need to try something new. And so I believe in creating tools that just makes it easy for people to do that without any major technical implementation. Like, it should be as simple as creating a, like, to be honest, vibe code, a really nice, cool banner animation for your site, set up a promo, send an email out on Friday morning saying, yeah, you get this weekend, and yeah, apply it to a segment if you want to reward a particular customer group, and just go and do it and then see if it works. And it should be easy for people to do that. And that's not just applying to, whether that's through doing store credit, or there's great discount apps as well that do really good promos that you can spin up quickly, and yeah, things you can do in Shopify Flow to reward customers. It's so easy to do that stuff. Yeah. But I think if you've got that sort of traditional points-based system, I think that can almost be more of a hindrance for some businesses than it is a help.
And I'm not trying to sell this for you, because you haven't even given me an affiliate code to sell this for you on your behalf.
I'll give you one.
No, I don't want one. We don't do that. But I love it too from a new customer acquisition perspective, because if you give a credit, all of a sudden your ROI on your acquisition cost is over 2 baskets, not over one, which I think is a really smart move. All right, let's pick a new animal. Let's go into Omnibus owl. I'm fascinated by the owl. What does the owl do?
Yeah, I didn't come up with it. So Matt came up with the idea of the owl for it. He's bought into my branding strategy. But no, that one actually, that was something he built. He's based over in Poland, and it's actually, was sort of a bit of a niche play for the market over there. So in the EU zone, it's actually compulsory for you. If you put a product on sale, you have to show what the history of the price on that product is. So it saves you from, you can't go in and just say something's reduced from $100 to $50. You have to say this is the lowest price over the last 30 days. And Shopify doesn't actually track your price history on any product. So,
well, based on what's happening here with the ACCC and some of our big supermarkets, it might not be far away.
yeah, that's it. So I've started trying to garner a bit of interest in it. And Coles have helped out a little bit there, haven't they, with some of the stuff they're going through now. But like, it's actually just, it's actually really powerful just to track your price history. Like, we've built in some analytics stuff to it now as well. And looking at helping also just some merchandising stuff built into it as well. But so it started off as sort of just a really specific lightweight app to do one thing. But I think the whole price piece is something I'm really interested in seeing what we could do with it. And just helping with things like automatically tagging products and adding them to collections and stuff when they're on sale. We've sort of started tackling all that type of thing. But it's interesting to see those trends around the world and what you can learn from different regions. Like, I think Europe's probably always been a bit ahead with things like GDPR, and they've got some laws coming in place in Germany at the moment, which are forcing anyone who sells online has to provide a cancellation function on their site. So you can go back onto the site and cancel your order. So there's already a lot of people build apps specifically to do that.
It's so funny, isn't it? Like, the more that I've been working with European brands, is they're ahead when it comes to regulation and protection. But if from an e-commerce perspective, a lot of times they're behind. And like, Shopify doesn't have as much uptake in those markets as they do in the US and Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's intricacies to any market. I think like just the fact that in Europe, the fact there's so many different languages and different currencies, and there's different e-commerce platforms that have sort of been prominent over there. But I think Shopify is starting to really mature there. And I think Europe's actually probably the biggest market for our apps, and sort of has been from when we started, which is interesting. And it does create interesting use cases. And I've got very good at using Google Translate and stuff to respond to support tickets and try and do them in the right languages.
Mate, there's some good options there if you need to go on work trips.
Yeah, that's it.
Fish wish list. What does the fish do?
It's a wish list. Yeah.
Why do we need another wish list? There are so many wish lists out there. And obviously, one of our partners is the Wishlist, which is more of an omni-channel solution, so a bit different to where you're at.
Yeah, and look, it's just a space that I think it was sort of just a bit of a hobby project to start with, and just wanted to build mainly something actually to sort of that worked really natively nicely in Shopify. So it stores all the wishlist data in Shopify meta fields, and syncs that, makes it really easy to sync that data to everything. So something I believe really strongly in for if you're selecting any app is making sure that it connects with Shopify Flow. And so, rather than have integrations with every single marketing platform, different POS systems, all of that sort of stuff, we've just made sure it integrates with Shopify Flow. And so the data all gets stored in Shopify meta fields. It can sync across nicely. It also just means it works natively with things like Shopify Markets. There's the POS extension just is completely native as well. And so, it's just really lightweight, and it allows us to do like our niche has sort of been like building out sort of some B2B experiences with it, and like doing just sort of custom things around if people want to do like pre-order lists and stuff like that. So it's sort of, I guess, taking a bit of a niche place there in that part of it. But it's also something just like hand in heart. I can't say that that's a million times better than anything else. There's a lot of options out there in that space. And I'd take a lot of interest in what, guys like the Wishlist, and I'm going to say Wishlist King, they're called Swish now. Like, they're run by good people that share lots of good content as well. And so, like, there's good options for everything. And it really comes down to finding the one that fits for your business. And I think also like apps that provide good service as well, and good people in the same time zone as you. That's almost as important as the actual product itself.
The market is shifting, costs are climbing, and the pressure to do more with less is very real. But when resources are tight, you can rely on Shopify, the platform that's consistently first with new capabilities. Shopify invests significantly in R&D and drops more than 150 updates every year, evolving with you and absorbing complexity so that you can focus on what moves your business forward. From AI-powered insights to the world's best converting checkout, Shopify is designed for the next era of commerce, helping you sell more, scale faster, and future-proof your brand. Build for what is next with Shopify. Visit Shopify for Enterprise to learn more.
And what's the smartest use you've seen of someone using wishlist data? Because I think it's one thing, like for me, and you touched on it then, the beauty of a wish list isn't that the customers have a little love heart on a product that they can come back to and save. It's what you can do with that data and how you can personalize the experience. How have you seen that being used in a really intelligent way?
Yeah, look, I think it's mainly just like, I think it's a great way to capture demand and capture, like also just to capture people at those different parts of the order journey. Like pre-orders is a really obvious one. Like if you've got a product that's coming in and you're trying to build hype for that product, but you can't necessarily capture the revenue at that point in time, which sometimes people can do that, sometimes people can't. Like just building that sort of customization into the experience so that people can go and do that. Because once that data is on the customer account, it becomes just so easy to then market that to them. So I don't consider that really rocket science, but yeah, it's just finding ways to create that good experience and meaning that you've got data on the customer account. You can also then use that to feed your decisions around future products that you offer. You can, use it to create recommendations. And like we just have other things that we build into the lists too. Like, for example, just like if someone purchases an item, we just add it to a wish list on their account just so they can go back and buy it again. Like it's not, again, not rocket science stuff, I don't think.
That's smart though, isn't it? You buy it once and then it's on your wish list forever. Well, not forever, but automatically added.
Yeah. And so like there's other things we've tried as well. Like we've got a checkout upsell widget where you could get things pop up from your wish list and you can add them at the checkout. And funnily enough, it's never really performed that well. So that's just sometimes you do things. I thought that was the most brilliant idea and would be the cutting edge thing that made it different to others. But and if you don't have any other upsells on the checkout, it works. It's better to have it than not. But it actually hasn't really moved the needle too much for anyone. But you've got the data there and you've got the ability to use it and try those things. And it will work differently for different businesses as well.
All right. That makes sense. We got the last one here for now. I'm sure you've got another bunch of animals in your head. But the product Pelican, what does the Pelican do?
Yeah, so I think this is my favorite child at the moment for sure.
Pelicans are just cool. There's something about pelicans. They're just good to look at. They're interesting. I've just got a thing for pelicans. So you're a
it's
winner.
Definitely the one I'm going to start wearing on my merch at events and stuff. I was researching Pelican hoodies the other day. But look, it's probably been the one that's been most interesting for me because, like I've been working with product data on Shopify stores for so bloody long. And back in the day when like even Matrixify could barely exist and importing CSVs and the manipulation you had to do just to get data into Shopify and sort of the apps you had to use just to make meta fields and stuff work. It used to be such a headache. But it's actually, there's so much you can do to optimize your product data now. And it's probably the most important thing for whether through all the acronyms UCP, MCP, AI, agentic, all those things, like the thought process around what is best practice there seems to change every day almost. And it's evolving so quickly. But the one thing that people all certain about is that good data is the most important thing to make sure that your products surface well.
Everyone's saying doesn't matter what you're in. For AI to work properly, whether you're connected, it all comes down to data. When it comes to product data, where do most people get it wrong and what's the problem that you're solving?
Yeah, so there's sort of two sides to it. I guess there's actually some technical stuff. Like there's just things like Shopify rolled out their own taxonomy, which is hard to populate in bulk. So we've built some tools for doing that stuff. And there's just some AI rules where you go in and you can populate the categories for all of your products and even the category meta fields that fall out from under that. So that's sort of the technical side of it that's important. I think the challenges people have, like firstly, just like consistency is really hard. Like you've got other systems feeding data in, you've got humans involved who, despite their best intentions, it's really hard to make stuff all consistent.
We'll get rid of the humans then, don't worry.
Yeah, that's it. We're just trying to eliminate humans. That's what we're doing.
It's not the bots that are going to take over the world, it's the animals.
Yeah, but so like we've just built some stuff for populating stuff like your product descriptions, for example, and image alt text, which like image alt text is the most boring thing to do, but it's kind of handy from an SEO perspective. And so we've just built tools to populate that stuff automatically. And like, as I was saying earlier, you could theoretically populate all that stuff using Claude and say, hey, Claude, make all my product descriptions SEO friendly. But that's, yeah, pretty cowboy behavior and got massive risk to it. So we tried to put sort of guardrails in place where you log in, you go into the app, it gives you a health check and tells you all those different areas of your product data and where there's gaps or things that need improvement. And then, yeah, we also open up all of the AI prompts in there as well. So, yeah, we've got some built-in logic that you see around, yeah, what we use to populate product descriptions. But if, for example, you want to include messaging in your product descriptions that you offer free postage on all orders, or you have a 3-year warranty on all of your fridges or whatever it is, you can go and actually just change those AI rules yourself. And so we're trying to find that right balance where you can use the power of AI, but also know what's happening and have some control over what's happening there as well.
What models are you using? What AI models are you using to generate the product information?
Yes, we actually, I built it using a free Grok API key, and I'm thinking I'd change it. And I hadn't actually really even used Grok until I found that you could do an API key for free. And when we first launched in the App Store, it was actually using that still. But we've been experimenting with Claude and Gemini as well. But ended up going back to you can actually switch the models, or we can do it behind the scenes anyway. Switch the models easily for any user. But yeah, we've actually just got the Grok library of API keys at the moment, and we found them to be pretty fast. And yeah, we're sort of like, I think the thing we've decided is you've got to be nimble and able to change because the models and what they return changes. And yeah, we've also you've got to watch the cost side of it as well, make sure that we're not using API keys that are going to end up costing a fortune. But yeah, so it's always changing, but yeah, mainly Grok ones at the moment.
That's fascinating. I love that. It's interesting, I think, especially for product Pelican, because if you think about, you touched on it there, is that Shopify's moat is essentially going to be this huge catalog of products. Like, it might not be in the future so much about being the front end or even the payment, but this one catalog of products that's available anywhere across the web. You know, whether you're checking out via Claude, OpenAI, whatever it is, or you've got a headless, headless isn't really the term anymore, but it's, you can checkouts everywhere. Is that kind of how you're thinking about product?
It is a bit that's it. I think no one's really quite nailed, with the global catalog and stuff. I don't think anyone's quite nailed how to best use it. And yeah, I've seen people much smarter than me have built out tools where you can browse the whole Shopify catalog, but you actually type in a product that you want and it returns absolute junk. It returns stuff from Temu type stores that you would never buy from. So there's a bit of work to go there. And I think when I went to Toronto last year for the Shopify conference, the use cases I thought sort of came out of that global catalog will be things like if someone wants to build a furniture marketplace or a particular niche, then there's potential to build out some of those sort of experiences. But I don't know what the commercial model will be around it. And I'm not sure anyone's quite nailed it. But yeah, having data that is in the place it's meant to be, that uses a standard format, which Shopify's data format's obviously universal, and they're using the UCP framework is sort of the adopted global framework that, Google and all the big retailers have sort of agreed to. So, just having stuff where it should be, using plain English is something that's actually become really relevant again. So if you've got a yellow T-shirt, call it a yellow T-shirt, not a musky tobacco T-shirt or whatever it might be. So, just things like that are actually really valuable.
If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, what is it? It's a new app called something duck.
A musky tobacco. But it's really just about trying to help people navigate to that sort of common sense approach. And I also think too, it actually makes it better for humans. If you've still got a human going onto your website, having clear information on there that they understand is actually quite helpful.
There's something big brewing here, right? In terms of, obviously you got AI as the engine doing all of this, but over here we've got this huge growth in social and content and influencer content creation that's just bubbling and growing and growing and growing, still not connected to checkout properly unless you're TikTok shop in the US mainly or a bit of Europe. And then you've got this disruption over here on traditional websites and the product catalogs and the global product catalogs. Those worlds have to combine at some point. I love your example there around, hey, maybe you can spin up a furniture marketplace, but maybe marketplaces aren't even a thing in the future. There's no such thing as a marketplace. There's just someone who's really great at content and can bring through whatever products they need to bring through from the global catalog.
Yeah.
And we don't have this breakdown of well, this is a marketplace for furniture and this is a website for a furniture brand. It's like, actually, this person talks a lot about furniture. What products can they surface?
Yeah, oh, exactly. And I think even like I look at retailers even like, and there's potential even for businesses to try different storefronts with their own products. Like if you've got a large catalog with that stocks 50 brands across different genders, different age groups, different target audiences, like that catalog's so powerful. And it's actually so easy to spin up like a little offshoot site, like spin up a separate site just for your kids' products or
Yeah.
if you're launching a new range, just spin it all off and you can run it all through a single Shopify instance. And I think that's where like the headless wave, which I could have another whole conversation about the ghost of the headless wave of a few years ago. But like to me, that was initially, I thought that would be where headless went, was like it actually gives the opportunity to spin up new experiences really quickly. And that's something you can do so easily now with like build a Claude website that shows a few of your products and you can use it for a single email campaign or a single marketing campaign and just drive those people through the checkout or build like a funky product builder or things like those quizzes and stuff, which could be so difficult to custom build back in the day. Like, I don't know, I just think there's so much opportunity to have fun in e-commerce at the moment. And I think that's what people need to be thinking about. Like, it's not about whether you don't need to just think about your ERP integrations. If you've got all of that right, you've got your data in place, then focus on actually bringing the fun back to marketing and sales. That's what I think is the most exciting thing.
That's fun. I like that. How have you priced all of these? Because obviously app pricing is so elastic. You can get apps from $9 a month all the way through to a few thousand. Where have you landed?
Oh, I'm still working it out. I don't know if I'm meant to say that or whether I should sound like I've got a strategy behind it. Like SaaS kind of has that freemium model essentially where you've got to find the right balance between letting people get in and try it, letting small stores even have it for free and give them something to work with. But also just be respectful of the fact that people creeps up pretty quickly if you've got 20 or 30 apps on your store. So finding people that you can offer value to. And so it's like we're not going in trying to be enterprise and sell things for thousands of dollars. Our play is probably more around scale and just making it easy for people to get started. And I see the price as almost being the secondary thing to just the ease of use, the ease of actually getting value out of it. The good service we provide and making sure that people can just get in and use it to benefit their business. Did I skirt around that enough?
Yeah, you did. I mean, it's all in the App Store if you want to check it out, because I think that's the tough thing. Depending on when people are listening, the price might be different. So go into the App Store, check them out. Tell me, are you ever worried about Shopify looking at what you're releasing and going, especially like Stork credit, for example, is one example that I think is Shopify go, actually, that's a really good idea. That app's doing pretty well. It's a good idea. We'll just incorporate it into native Shopify.
Yeah, I'm actually not worried about that. It's something I ask people a bit on my podcast as well is like, do you fear that? Shopify actually have got a track record. The way they go about it is they get everything to like a 6 or 7 out of 10. And that's not to say it's bad. That's to say they nail the 6 or 7 out of 10 functionality perfectly. Like they don't launch something that is half-baked or isn't going to work well, but then they leave it to the rest of the ecosystem to get stuff from the 7 to 10. And that's where the real innovation happens. It's where, there's also just so many different use cases as well. Like you can build a product data structure that covers most of the fields you need to sell products, but there's a lot of different use cases out there. So sometimes people need to build stuff custom still. Sometimes, there'll be apps that do it and apps that can focus on that individual problem. And so I don't fear that really. There'll be things that they do bake into the platform, but that's also like that's part of it. You're not building an app that's just you build it and then it just sits there and generates recurring revenue and you go and can do something else.
We've been told differently. We told it was easy. You just spin it up in half an hour in Claude, put it in the App Store, and then you're set for life. It just works in the background.
Yeah, that's it. I can show you my car. It's not a Porsche yet.
For people listening to this, and I've always enjoyed your counsel on this, when you're evaluating apps to add into your store, whether it's one of yours or whether it's broader than that from your agency background and the people that you talk to on your podcast, what do you think retailers and brands need to be most careful of when evaluating new apps to add into their store?
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the things that I most value is I call it easy in, easy out. Like I think that's really important. And it's something I saw the trend even with big retailers over probably the last 12 to 18 months. People don't want to sign to a 2 or 3 year contract for a function that's on their website essentially. And so, yeah, I also think it just goes to if your product's a good product, then it doesn't need 2 months to onboard it and set it up. It doesn't need to go deep into your code base. The way that Shopify stores in particular work now, it should be easy to build something that you can drop in and then take out at the end if you do decide to move on to something else. So I think that's really important. I think Shopify Flow is also not just super powerful because it allows you to connect so many things together, but I think it's one of the great indicators of quality on an app is that they've gone and built that into the ecosystem. So yeah, if something has its own Shopify Flow triggers and actions, then yeah, you can connect it with almost anything. You can also put things in place to change the logic as well. So you're not beholden to just what the app does. So yeah, like with store credit, for example, we've got the automation piece where you can go and create a promo really easily. But if you want to do something where, say, you give someone store credit 3 weeks after they place their order and haven't asked for a refund, you can just go and set that up in Shopify Flow and you just put in, use all Shopify Flow's functionality to do it. So yeah, I think the Shopify Flow piece is really valuable and often better than when someone advertises that they've got an integration with X, Y, and Z. Those integrations are often, and I've been guilty of this too, and I'm looking at some new opportunities to do it, but those integrations can often be a marketing play as much as anything from the apps wanting to shout each other out. So but yeah, and then the other pieces too, like just the other metrics, like the reviews are obviously really important as an indicator, and it's sort of the SEO rating for apps is it's all based on on the reviews. But then I think the service is the other piece. Like just email them, have a chat to them. Like most good apps, they live and die by the support they provide. And if you can't get on a call with people, and also can't leverage those people too, because the people that are running these apps live and breathe that particular function, and your success is their success. And so they actually want you to succeed, and you can get a lot of value just from talking to the people that run the apps. And if you're using an app that can't provide that, then just go and find one that does, because yeah, like I could think of almost any vertical. I can think of 2 or 3 apps where there's people you can talk to and get support with it. And like, it's an amazing ecosystem. It really is.
I love that. That's really good tips. Is there a hard number on how many apps is too many apps to have connected to your Shopify store?
Yeah, I don't think so. There's also like you can have lots of apps that don't necessarily touch a lot of stuff that like you might have pixel apps and stuff like that. You kind of need to have an afterpay apps and stuff like that. But I think the main thing is that your team needs to be able to manage it. If your team can actually knows where to go to do stuff, is not overwhelmed, doesn't have multiple points of failure for the same thing. There's nothing worse than not knowing if your products aren't showing right, whether you need to log into your search platform or your merchandising platform or Shopify or your ERP, and having that like that's the thing that kills teams. And it also just it erodes trust in all those platforms as well. And they all end up, there's that Spider-Man picture of them all pointing at each other. You don't want to have those situations. Like you just need to be able to understand your tech stack. And I think also just like going back to the easy in, easy out, like I think you've got to make sure you cull stuff as you go as well. So if you're not using something or you're just not getting value out of something, make sure you do it as you go along. Don't just wait until your whole stack's a mess and you're like, oh, we need to rebuild our site. You should be like looking at stuff that, if you're not using it, like just uninstall it and make sure that it's taken out, and then you can focus on something else or let your team actually focus on stuff rather than trying to manage everything.
It's a great tip. All right, next 6 months. So first 6 months, well, what do you got? First 2 months under your belt.
Yeah.
What are your priorities for the next 6 months?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't, and that's the fun bit for me. I don't know if I should have a vision or a plan. I'd never get a job because I'd never be able to answer the "where will you be in 5 years' time" conversation.
Anyone who does know is bullshitting anyway.
But yeah, like I'm just getting out there talking to merchants and I say kissing babies and doing whatever I can to get a good word out there at the moment. But yeah, like I don't know. I think the new parts of the platform are what excite me the most. Like the stuff we're doing with Product Pelican, like just every call I have about it has like new interesting scenarios come up, and like the power that we've got to be able to build stuff that can actually optimize your data is just really exciting me. I've sort of been having little fist pump moments after calls with people about it and stuff, which is so exciting and fun. And so probably like secondary to that, like the stuff with store credit, I'm hoping that's going to sort of tick along and yeah, I'll see. Like, I don't know if we'll build more apps, or we might find in 6 months' time, you know what, we go all in on one of them. I'm really not sure. I don't think anyone's very good at predicting stuff in this world at the moment. We don't know, like, if even 9 months ago, I don't think Claude was barely a blip on the radar to most people. And I know, like, I spent the last 3 months of last year just deciding, you know what, I'm just going to focus on just using Gemini for a little bit, because I'd used about 5 different AI tools last year and had 15 different, so many different places to look for everything I'd done. I'm like, I just need to double down and focus on using one tool. But then Claude came out, and like from the moment I started using that, became a convert to it. And so I think stuff's just changing so fast. I think trying to be measured, trying not to jump at shadows and get overwhelmed. And
Shadows or shiny objects are pretty dangerous right now, aren't they?
yeah, that's it. And like, you can look at the doomsday as well. Like, there's so much doom out in the world of, people saying that we're all going to be out of jobs, or everyone's going to vibe code everything that people have built good products for. But I think we've seen waves like that in the past with every wave of technology.
I thought that was the promise, that AI was going to take my job. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we could maybe try just doing another version of this to go parallel, just where we get the interview to do itself and just get bot 1 to interview bot 2. And I don't know, maybe it'll be just as good. I'm not sure.
Definitely be smarter on this side of the camera. I'm not sure about the other. Tell me, Martin, for people who, like, I think this is such an amazing opportunity for retailers and brands. If they want to pick the brain of someone who's very freaking smart, like where you are right now is really interesting, because like you said, you're having those phone calls, and I'm not selling this at all. I'm like, if I could have an hour with you once a month, I would love that, because I think you'd always find something interesting. But if we've got people wanting to get in touch to talk about the animal farm at Native App Code that you're building, and some of maybe the problems that they're facing, and seeing how it might fit, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm everywhere now. I'm out there. I've sold my soul on LinkedIn a long time ago, so you can hit me up there. I've started doing Twitter as well, and I've got email address. I've got everything. Like, just bat phone, whatever. At this point in time, I'm like I said, I'm out there just chatting to people, and like loving every chat that I have. Like, it's the most fun bit about being those early days of starting a business. You're just out there hustling and having fun, and I'm sure, like, if we have any success, I'll probably become a little bit less accessible. But that's all right.
That's great.
But so hit me up anywhere. I've got the Calendly links on my website and all that stuff. So I'm not hard to reach.
We'll put the links in the show notes. And what's the name of the podcast again, so people can subscribe while they're here?
Oh, yeah, there we go. The Shopify App Show. So it should be, I assume that comes up pretty easily when you search for it. It's not it's not spelt funny or anything like that. But a bit more niche than this one. And so,
Love it.
hopefully, people seem to enjoy it when they do listen to it for the most part. So, thanks so much for having me on here, because these conversations are fun, and there's just so much you can talk about in this Shopify ecosystem. I feel like we're going to go on for 4 hours. So
I think we could easily, but I love your vision for Native App Co, and I love that you're doubling down on what you're really good at, where you see a need, and just being flexible around everything from what the business model looks like all the way through to what the apps can actually do. I think that's a real skill that we've got right now with all the disruption and the change happening. Being flexible, not having that set strategy that you've got to stick to no matter what, is a really exciting space to be. So I'm pumped to see what you do from here, Martin. And hopefully in, a year's time, you aren't accessible and you've got that Ferrari or that Porsche, and we might never see you again.
No, we'll see. I'm sure I'll still be. I'll still. If all else fails, I'm sure I'll always be checking my Slack in the bathroom in the morning. I can't break that habit. I should take up smoking.
Smoking would be healthier,
I reckon. Thanks, Bushy.
All right, 3 big lessons from this one. By the way, how good was Martin's backdrop? Just chilling in his backyard, recording podcasts, building apps. I reckon he's embraced post-agency life with a flourish. All right, 3 things to take away from this episode. Number 1, store credit. I know it sounds simple, but the way that Martin explained it really clicked for me. The old move is obviously the discount code. You fire it out, customer uses it, margin's gone, customer has their product. But what store credit does instead is it gives the customer something that lives in their account post-purchase, and they have to come back to your store to spend it. It's really smart. It's an old retail move, but in a way for the online world. You still get the second sale, your acquisition cost spreads across 2 baskets instead of 1, and you haven't just given away margin on the first order with nothing else to show for it. His app, Stork Credit, get it, Stork Credit, is the easiest way to set this up on Shopify, so maybe take a look at that when you're planning your next promotion. Secondly, the global product catalog thing is still rattling around in my head. The idea is that Shopify's real long-term asset might not be in the storefront or even in the partner ecosystem or even in the checkout. I think it's in catalog. Every product accessible everywhere, whether someone's buying it through an AI assistant or a piece of social content or some checkout experience that doesn't even exist yet. If that's where it's heading, then the question for every merchant isn't just how good is my website, it's how good is my product data. Because if the catalog becomes the distribution, getting your products in great shape now, while most people aren't even thinking about it, is a huge opportunity. And the last one is just get on Martin's calendar. He's 2 months in, he's curious, he's one of those people who will give you a real view on the world and actually has the time right now to shoot the breeze about everything Shopify, apps, and animals. That window won't stay open forever. His LinkedIn link is in the show notes if you want to get in touch with him. A big thank you to our partners Shopify and Klaviyo for making Add to Cart possible. We always appreciate their support. If you got something from this one, please do subscribe or leave us a review wherever you're listening. Until next time, I'll see you on Add to Cart.